At the moment, I think that technologically speaking, what we see obviously is that probably the radical breakthrough of mobile technologies, which means that the access to the network becomes much more independent of a particular site, so that being from Finland, of course, and seeing what the Nokia is doing with its effort in making the World Wide Web and internet available for everybody in every moment, at every moment. I think that while I think there's a lot of hype, of course, and a lot of perhaps unrealistic expectations there, but there's also a lot that is really happening in the sense of making things more mobile, and this mobility is very, very important, and we're probably not quite aware of its implications in education. For instance, when I look at my son, who is an avid skateboarder, it's a culture of mobility. The skateboarders don't anymore skate just in one place where there's a skate park. They go around the cities and move as nomads, and they call each other, send text messages. In near future, they probably send video showing that here is a nice place to skate. This particular ramp, or this particular way the stairway is built in this building is good for skateboarding, and it means that there is a kind of a coming together and dispersing, coming together and dispersing kind of pulsation socially and informationally, which is a very different notion of network. The network is not anymore just stable nodes in one, which are connected. The nodes themselves move radically, and I think that's a very interesting aspect which we haven't really paid attention to in education. We still think in terms of, okay, here we have the terminals, so let the kids come here at the terminal and start networking. But when the terminals move, that changes. What changes is not quite clear yet.
Finally, the audience of this video is primarily the network learning practitioners and who are developing their work at master's degree level. What would your message for these participants be? If you picked out one thing that you would suggest they think closely about?
Right. I would say, personally, this is just a very personal but also theoretically driven concern of mine, that be aware that network learning, virtual worlds, digital worlds should not be conceived of as closed worlds. In other words, there's a tremendous temptation to think of those networks as complete worlds unto themselves, in which everybody can assume any identity, everybody can play any role, any information is available, etc., etc. You can do anything. However, the connection, the interface to the other world, our physical existence, the fact that we have to eat and walk and live with real people, etc., etc., oftentimes tends to be sort of suspended or nearly excluded. The closed world phenomenon is a real challenge, and I think we need mixed worlds. We need worlds which cross those boundaries and become hybrids. So in a way, I think that in this sense, I'm thinking of, if you think of fantasy, good fantasy books, the Narnia books of C.S. Lewis, they were pretty much Narnia was pretty much a closed world. You had to enter through, a closet, and then you were there. But Harry Potter's world is different, because it's actually, it's in the everyday society. His magician school is a place where they actually have to cross the boundary. And that's, I think, is a good lesson. And we should learn from Harry Potter in that sense, that we should not construct our Narnias. We should construct the magician schools in which you have the trouble of actually facing your parents and